When my mother said it, the knife never paused. Her smile never twitched. Only the room changed, air tightening, heat pressing in like a held breath. Thanks to your miscarriage, our family line stays pure. The blade slid through the turkey with a soft crunch, as if agreeing with her. Laughter erupted, sharp, careless, communal. My sister patted her son's head like she was presenting an heirloom. One real grandchild is enough, don't you think? I set my fork down. Gently, quietly, a movement so small none of them noticed. But they should have, because that was the moment I decided this would be their last family gathering. It's almost funny how betrayal always begins with trust. I used to bring homemade pies to these dinners. Stupid things, braided crusts, cinnamon steam rising like hope. Mom would hug me at the door. My sister would steal slices while pretending we were close. Back then, before the test results, before the miscarriage, before the whispers, I believed I belonged at this table. I believed I was loved. My husband, then still my anchor, told me I was imagining the distance. That's just how your family jokes, he'd say. But jokes don't feel like traps. And love doesn't sound like a door quietly closing behind you. Started small. A text message I wasn't meant to see. She's too fragile to be a mother. A voicemail my mother forgot to delete. Her genes are questionable. Maybe it's for the best. Then the final slice. A conversation caught through the thin walls of my childhood home when I arrived early one day. My mother's voice, cold as November glass. My sister's, gleeful. My husband's, calm, complicit. The tone he reserved for decisions he didn't want to defend. She's not strong enough, he said. Our children deserve a better family. And my mother's response, the one that carved a hollow into my chest. Then make sure she never gets pregnant again. They didn't know I stood on the other side of the door. They didn't know I'd already taken 3 silent steps back. Or that my heartbeat had become a metronome of clarity. I didn't cry. Not then. Tears are for people who feel powerless. I had just realized I wasn't. I didn't confront them. Not once. Confrontation gives the enemy time to adjust. Instead, I studied them, tracked their habits, observed their insecurities like a biologist cataloging a dying species. My mother's finances already strained. My sister's perfect wife image, fabricated and brittle. My husband's career, propped up by documents I handled, reports I wrote, contacts I nurtured. I let them all believe I was wounded, small, obedient. Grief makes an excellent disguise. And while they smirked and whispered, I gathered everything I needed. Proof, patterns, weaknesses. Every betrayal is a weapon if you sharpen it correctly. The first move was legal. I filed for divorce quietly, with a lawyer specialized in high-conflict cases and concealed evidence. My husband received the papers at work, delivered during a board meeting he desperately needed to impress. The second move was financial. I sent the company's compliance department the full archive of his misrepresented quarterly figures, something I had warned him about for months. He had ignored me. The third move was social. I forwarded my sister's not-so-private messages to her husband, pictures mostly, ones she thought she had deleted. And for my mother, all it took was one call to the bank to report suspicious activity on her joint accounts. Accounts she had been siphoning from my father. He was surprisingly eager to cooperate. Every domino fell exactly as I'd arranged it. But I wanted one final moment. One last gathering, for tradition's sake. So I came tonight, smiled, brought a pie like the old days, carefully lattice-topped, golden, harmless. Mom carved the turkey. My sister gloated. My husband, no, my ex-husband, watched me with the wary expression of a man sensing a storm he can't outrun. They didn't know I had timed everything to the minute. At 6:14 p.m., my sister's husband would receive the file. At 6:18, the auditors would arrive at my ex-husband's office. At 6:20, my father would get the alert confirming my mother's withdrawals. But the best part? I had set all their phones, linked to the family Wi-Fi, to display the notifications simultaneously once connected. So when I stood up from the table, their screens lit up. One by one. A chorus of consequences. My sister's face drained first. My mother reached for her phone with shaking hands. My ex-husband whispered my name, not in anger, no, in recognition. He finally understood the difference between fragile and quiet. What did you do? My sister choked. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Their screens did it for me. Financial ruin. Affairs exposed. Careers collapsed. Criminal investigations initiated. Thanksgiving had finally lived up to its name. I stepped out into the cold evening air. The door slammed behind me, their shouts muffled and distant. For the first time in years, I inhaled without trembling. People say revenge doesn't fix anything. They're wrong. It doesn't fix them, but it fixes you. It gives you back the pieces they tried to take. I walked down the driveway slowly, savoring the quiet. That house behind me? It would never host another holiday. Not after tonight. And me? I'm done carving myself smaller for them. Let them choke on the family line they worship so much. I have no intention of continuing it. I'm too busy starting my own. One built on truth, on choice, on freedom, and most importantly, one that has no place for them.